Evening, travelers. I hope y'all found somewhere warm tonight. I hope you're plumb cozy and ready for a strange story. This one was told to me by a woman I met on the road. Name was Ada May. Her face looked like it had seen more winters than she'd lived, and her eyes, well, let's just say she didn't so much look at me, so much as through me, all the way back to Cradle's End. She said she was the only soul who walked out of that place alive, and the way she told it, it near froze my blood right there by that fire. Now, Cradle's End was a humble place, flatland town, east edge of the Badlands. About a dozen homes, each of them built shoulder to shoulder. These folks had decided to try and expand their colony into the salt flats, looking for the same thing as anyone else, a better life for them, for their loved ones. It's understandable and respectable. It didn't have much farmland. Rock and salt only sprout so much, but one winter, Ada told me, a native traveler passed through. Strange woman, wore a mask carved from pale wood, voice like gravel in a bottle, and above her eyes sprouted the stumps of broken antlers. Now, if you've been out this way, you know what that means. The tribes born here, the folks that walked these flats long before we crossed the sea, when one of their own brings shame on the tribe, they cut 'em clean at the root. So either this woman had herself a run-in with the wrong kind of hunter, or she was carrying the mark of exile. Whatever the truth may be, she didn't linger. She traded a pouch of seeds for water and then moved on. Now these seeds, Ada said, they were special. The trader promised they'd grow anywhere, even in dead soil. Promised that what came from them would keep a belly full through the leanest of winters. So, with cold weather just a couple seasons away, the folks of Cradle's End planted them and waited. And to their surprise, they sprouted quick. Green shoots pushed up from the ground, and blossoms pale as bone opened at their roots. The fruit was stranger still, long as an eggplant, and cloudy, leathery skin, almost see-through, like fog glasses, and if you held them up to the light, you could see 3 seeds floating inside. The first thing you ought to know about these settlers, they weren't very cautious, and that was their pride. The second thing, they were desperate, and that was their mistake. They wasted no time at all in eating these things. After a week or so, they were on every plate in every house at every meal. Ada's husband had tried to get her to eat with him, but she wouldn't have it. Said it felt wrong. She didn't have any other words to describe it. Said she felt crazy for being the only one to question it. But strange things started happening after that. Goats began dying, one by one, bellies gone tight as drums, eyes turned white as milk. These things happen, unfortunately. Folks figured it was just some sickness in the herd, bad hay, foul water, nothing more. Now, people thought it was worrisome, sure, what with the animals dropping all sudden like that, but most didn't fret too much. They still had the pods to eat, and that's exactly what they did. She said she couldn't take 2 steps out her door without seeing folks chewing on those pods. Out in the streets, on porches, tucked in pockets, gnawing and talking like it was the most natural thing in the world. One day, she said, there came a knock at her door. Her friend Joyce Garnett. Ada hadn't seen her in a week, and she hardly recognized her now. Her cheeks were gaunt and sunken, hands bony as chicken wire. But her belly was swollen like she'd swallowed a stone. And in her hand, of course, one of those cloudy pods, crunching loud between every word. Ada's husband had stopped sleeping. They all had. Spent his nights wandering from room to room, until one night he opened the door and drifted outside. She rose just in time to see him through the window, but it wasn't only him. The whole town was out there, moving slow as if dreaming, each one gnawing at their pods as they walked. All of them shuffling together in the moonlight, heading toward the field where those cursed things grew. Ada told me she followed her husband that night, out past the road into the field where the blossoms swayed like lanterns in the moonlight. She said the whole town was there, scattered in the rows, men, women, even children, all of them laying in dirt like it was a feather bed. Each one reaching up, plucking pods straight off the vine, biting into 'em raw, cloudy juice running down their necks. Her husband was among 'em, knees sunk deep in the soil, lips working like he hadn't eaten in years. She ran to him and grabbed his shoulders. She begged him to come with her. Said she pulled with all her might, but he wouldn't be moved. His hands clutched that vine like it was life itself. And when she tried to tear the pod from his mouth, she saw it beneath his skin, something shifting, twitching under the flesh of his throat, crawling down his arms and spreading like roots looking for soil. She told me she screamed, but nobody in that field even turned their head. They just kept chewing. Her husband, he just gnawed harder. Eyes rolled back into his head, face slack with hunger. Ada said she ran, heart hammering, hands shaking. She stumbled back into her little shelter and started grabbing what she could. Boots, a shawl, a canteen. She was half packed when she heard it. A crack tore through the night, sharp and final. A gunshot. She froze, pressed herself against the doorframe, and peered out. On the far porch across the way was another woman, thin, hollow-eyed, but standing, a rifle still warm in her hands. Ada swore later she must have been like her. She must have been refusing those pods. And Ada cursed herself for not seeing her sooner, not knowing that she weren't alone. But it didn't matter now. From the shadows they came, a dozen of them, maybe more. Faces pale in the moonlight, mouths glistening with that cloudy pulp. They moved quick, too quick to be sleepwalkers, and they climbed the porch like wolves. Ada said the woman screamed, fired again and missed. Then they were on her, hands gripping, teeth flashing. They tore the rifle away and dragged her down into the street. She fought, Lord, she fought, but there were just too many. They pinned her flat on the dirt, arms wrenched back till her shoulders popped. And then Ada saw him, her husband. He was the one who knelt on the woman's spine, drove his knee into her back like a man breaking a horse. With one hand tangled in her hair, he yanked her head up sharp. The rest held her arms and her legs, and she screamed for him to stop. And then down the road moseyed one with a pod in his hand. They pried her mouth open as she screamed. The pod crunched between her teeth, and that sick ooze poured from the corners of her mouth. Then they fed her another. Her belly rose round and tight, like she'd been stuffed past what the body could hold. All the while, the townsfolk hummed, low in their throats. A sound Ada swore was like the plants themselves creaking in the wind. And her husband, he just kept on, calm and focused, as if what he was doing was a kindness. Ada Mae told me she owed her life to that woman. She said if they hadn't turned their hunger on her neighbor, she never would have had the chance. And so she lit out, didn't look back. She ran until the wind tore her breath away and her legs gave out, and she kept running into her mind long after. Said she still heard the crunch of those pods in her dreams. Ada's story could have ended there, just another ghost tale passing around the fire, but I seen Cradle's end with my own eyes. That's right, I'm sitting here now, broadcasting from the canyon rim. The town's dead. No other word for it, just cabins caved in, roofs sagging, and fences swallowed whole. And the people, what's left of them, they're part of the soil now. Husks planted flat in the dirt, skin gray and crumbling, like the pods drank 'em down and left the shell behind. Oh, and the crop. It's everywhere. Pods hanging on the vines, blossoms pale as bone, streets, porches, doorways, all of it overtaken. The town don't look built by men anymore. So listen, travelers, if you ever come across pods like these, cloudy skin, 3 seeds floating inside, don't eat 'em. Don't even touch 'em. But just to be safe, I burned the place down on my way out. Figured it was the least I could do.